Tekken World Tour just ended, and we also got not only some good fights. If you haven't watched the finals, take a watch. I think you'll enjoy them. We also got new information on Tekken 8, not only in the form of a new character to the roster, Nina, but also a breakdown of the four features for Tekken, which are your rage system, recoverable gauge, your heat system, at least a better breakdown of the heat system, and controller style. This was a video presentation done by the game director, and the executive producer for Tekken. So I thought we'd discuss a little bit about it because after watching that footage, there's quite a bit to talk about here. So we'll go with it in order in a second, but we'll start off with what they are going for their battle concept and their vision. So as stated before, the concept here is aggression, so they're trying to make these more faster paced and more of a focus on offense. I kind of like that idea. I do like the focus on offense, as long as defense isn't left behind, which there is something that they did show about that. It's something that has been brought back, though. So if you're on defense, you're not going to be completely left in the dust, but at least if you're going on the aggressive part, you're going to have an interesting time with it, and they make aggression very interesting in this game, which again, we'll talk about that when we get to their four features. But their vision here that they have said is to provide both players and audiences the most exhilarating experience yet within the series through a new battle system and evolved visual expressions. And if you've been seeing the footage for Tekken 8, it actually looks, for me at least, Tekken 8 actually looks impressive. And I feel like there's more personality now with the character designs, like looking at Paul, even looking at Law, Jun as well, and even with Nina. I think Nina actually looks really cool in this game. I've seen her played before. She looks like fun, but however, in this one, she kind of gives me vibes of Striker from Mortal Kombat, just because she uses her gun. She uses guns, and that's actually incorporated into her playstyle, so it's not just there for show. I will say Nina does seem like a fun character to use. I don't know how easy she is to pick up and play, though, but that'll be definitely someone I want to give a shot when this game comes out. For me, at least, Jun is probably going to be still my first pick when playing this game, because again, she kind of reminds me of Chizuru, even though I don't think she's going to play this the same as Chizuru, but her style is something that appeals to me. Nina definitely looks like someone I would want to at least give a shot and see how she works. If you are proficient with Nina, like, what do you think makes her stand out? I'm curious to hear what you have to say about that. But I'm glad to see her in here. She looks cool. I hope she's gonna be fun. But going back to the descriptions of the game, as we said what their vision is and what their focus is, at least for battle concept. They did talk about four features. Rage arts are back, it looks like, from Tekken 7, and one interesting thing this time is that it's all kind of a unanimous move now. So it's activated with one button, which is at least R2 on the PlayStation 5 version. So I would assume at least on Xbox it's going to be the right trigger for it if you're playing it that way. But rage arts basically look like heavy hitting, flashy moves that can help turn the tide of a battle. So, and then the other thing they mentioned was like rage drives that were in Tekken 7. They're no longer here in Tekken 8, but I don't think that's much of a loss. Like, the rage stuff looks cool, and it actually works the same as it looks like in Tekken 7. When your health is at a certain part, when your health is low, you can activate your rage art there, and also your moves get a bit of a damage buff as well when you're in that state. So you can use it to actually turn up the tide of battle, which could make for some interesting comebacks, to say the very least. And moving on, the next system that they had was the recoverable gauge. So basically, if you block certain moves, you'll lose some health, but you will have this little white outline on your health gauge as well. And what that is if you go on the offense and you land hits and stuff, you will get that health back. So it almost feels like Bloodborne there, in a sense, where if you get hit, you haven't completely lost it. You can get it back. So this goes back into their idea of aggression, and they want players to be more aggressive and like go on offensive play. You can't recover that health if you're just standing still. So it doesn't reward for turtling. So it actually makes you want to pull off like those kind of risky maneuvers, and you can be rewarded for it if you time things correctly. But there's something else that goes into the recovery gauge that can be used, which is called the Power Crush move. So basically, what Power Crush is, it allows you to absorb an attack and then attack back. So you will take some damage from it. It's not completely armor proof by the looks of it. You will be taking damage from it, but if you do a Power Crush move and then you actually go back on your offensive, you can basically recover that health you lost. So you kind of have to time when you're doing the Power Crush stuff, because if you use it when you're like low health, you could pretty much be costing yourself the round at that point, or maybe even the match. So that's actually kind of cool. I do like the fact that you can actually recover health in this game. So there is that whole kind of risk reward system. It's not just like, okay, you're stuck in a juggle and then you've lost all that health. Some of it you can recover. So that's actually kind of neat. And it doesn't and that gauge does not disappear over time, so it will stay there. It will stay there unless, you get more massive damage, like you get to a KO or something. But you cannot lose a round if you get just chipped out, or just like you do all the blocks and stuff to get to that state. So you can't be knocked out that way, apparently. The heat system is the one that I was the most curious about on how it worked, because it seems like this heat system is the main crux of how this game works. So basically how Heat works is activated with a button press here. In the case of what they were showing in the demonstrations, it's R1. So you press that, and then like you can just press it while they're idle, and then they will actually do a attack for it. Now you can fake that out, so if you press it, you can actually like stop the attack from happening and just activate the state too. So there's two ways to activate the heat system. One of them is, like I said, you just press the button, but then the other one is you can actually use it during an attack. So it's called Heat Engager. So, and each character in the game has 5 moves apparently that you can use the Heat Engager for. Now the heat is not just one-time use for the match as well. Heat can be used every round, and so that's actually one question I had with it. Is like, is it a one-time use thing? Can you only use it once in the match or something? No, it's good to see that you can use it per round. So again, it promotes the idea of aggressive play, which is really cool. If you look at the meter, because the meter is located at least underneath the player's health bar, you'll see these little icons. It looks like the 8 chain. You can do things such as like a heat dash. You can pull off your attacks, and then you can use a dash, like say, to continue to close the distance. So you can cancel it actually from a heat engage, which is nice. So you can keep your combo going. And then the other one is called Heat Smash. So basically, when looking at it at how it was demonstrated, Heat Smash seems very similar to how like the Rage Art works. But the thing is, all these moves come with a cost, though. So if you use Heat Dash, it uses one of the little 8 charges you have. Whereas if you use the Heat Smash, it uses everything. So if you have 2, which is the max you're allowed to have when you use it. If you have 2 and you use Heat Smash, you've pretty much used all of it at that point. Which the way you get those little heat things is depending on which one you use. So if you just activate heat mode, you get 1. But if you use it during a heat engager move, like with an attack, you get 2. So theoretically, one of the things you could set up for is if you use the heat engager for it, you can do some attacks, you can do a heat dash, continue with it, and then end it with the heat smash, which is actually kind of neat. So it opens up possibilities for combos and stuff. Now, how it works also with the heat is if an opponent is blocking it, it's not going to drain your heat gauge, which I mean, that would be a promotion of a defensive thing, and that could make you waste your heat with it. And if you don't use it, you're allowed it's used for a maximum of 10 seconds. So if you just activate heat and you just sit there, it's after 10 seconds it's gone, and then you'll get it back at the start of a round. Now, heat actually looks like, again, like I said before, it seems to be the main crux of how combat works, but heat actually looks really cool. And I'm excited to see like how players, especially like the higher tier players, use this heat system, because it sounds like it could be kind of a game changer. And then you factor that in with your rage arts and your power crushes. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of options when it comes to this stuff. But what if, say, you're new to Tekken, or you don't play a lot of Tekken like myself, for instance, and you just want to get in there and have some fun? Well, that's where controller style actually comes into play here. So you have basically two modes. You have the standard stuff, which is, I believe, arcade style, and that's your typical Tekken, your 4 buttons, and then your directional inputs and stuff. However, there is a new system in here called the special style, and the way it's been described is it's supposed to be something akin to, say, action games. So it's meant to be for more casual use and kind of more pick up and play. So you activate it by pressing the L1 button, at least that they were demonstrating on with the PlayStation version. So that would probably be L, the left bumper, on the Xbox controller. So now you can turn it on and off on the fly, and I do appreciate this where, like, if you want to just switch between them, that's handy. The one question I have when it comes for this style is, if you're playing online or if you're doing tournaments, can you disable this thing? Because, I mean, it's cool to have, but I feel like it could throw things off a little bit. But if you do use it, you'll have a little message on the screen that shows you, okay, so here's the special stuff, here's what you can do with it. I'm gonna want to experiment with it. I think it looks cool, but again, we'll need to see more when it comes to that. And then they also showed off a few more things. One of the things that was also announced was that Arika is assisting with development for Tekken 8 and is working on a bit of Tekken 7 as well. So I want to see what Arika's going to be doing with Tekken 8. They're not doing full development of it, of course. They're going to be assisting Bandai Namco with it, so hopefully balance and online, because I hope to God this game has good online. It needs some good online, and I'm hoping that there's going to be crossplay with it too, because if it does, I feel like this Tekken will do really well. But overall, like with the announcement of Nina and then the better breakdown of these mechanics, Tekken 8 is still something I'm going to keep on my radar. I want to try this. It looks like a lot of fun. This might be, like I said in the previous video, I would say this is the first Tekken game I want to get into, and I want to actually sit down and, you know, understand and grasp it. For those of you out there that are watching this, if this is your first Tekken game as well, or if you're experienced with the franchise, what are your thoughts on what was shown with this? Are you excited for Tekken 8? What do you hope to see? Not only in terms of, like, say, mechanics and stuff, like if there's anything else that they have to show with it. What do you want to see in terms of modes? What do you want to see in terms of characters? Please, you know, leave your feedback. I'd be curious to know what you have to say. You can leave your feedback in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video as well and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna try and follow Tekken 8 as much as I can with it, and I hope you guys will join me along the way. So with that being said though, thank you all for watching, and until next time, stay safe, and I will see you in the next one.